Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because you want to get smart, fast on what it takes to eat healthy for weight management.
Exactly.
And that's precisely what we're going to do using the articles and research you sent us.
Yeah, we've got some great stuff to look at.
We'll break down the core principles, and we're really going to get into why protein is such a powerhouse nutrient.
That's right. These sources, they really lay out the guidelines for weight control, healthy eating, and give us a really detailed look at all the incredible jobs protein does in your body.
Okay.
So our mission here in this deep dive is basically to pull out those crucial insights so you walk away with a clear understanding of how to eat well to manage your weight.
Right.
And specifically why protein is just, well, non-negotiable in that whole picture.
Okay, sounds good. So to get us started, let's look at a fundamental idea, like what is a healthy diet for weight control? One of your sources points to the WHO, right, from 2018.
Yeah, the World Health Organization. And they really emphasize loading up on fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fiber, legumes too.
Okay, the good stuff.
Exactly. And on the flip side, it's important to really watch your intake of free sugars.
Those sneaky ones in snacks and drinks.
You got it. Those ones.
Yeah.
And also processed meats and keeping an eye on salt. They also suggest swapping out those less healthy saturated fats and the industrially produced trans fats.
For the good ones.
For the good unsaturated fats, yes.
It makes sense.
And this definition, it's key because it shows that a healthy diet isn't just about, cutting things out.
Right, restriction.
It's just as much about making sure your body gets all the essential building blocks it needs. Your macros, carbs, fats, proteins, and your micros, the vitamins and minerals.
Okay.
And it also highlights that we need the right amount of energy tailored to each of us based on our individual needs, our physiology, how active we are. It's personal.
Exactly. And when you eat this way, the benefits for weight management, they seem pretty significant based on your sources.
Oh, definitely.
It makes controlling your weight, lose, gain, maintain, whatever your goal is, a whole lot easier.
Yeah, less of a struggle.
Plus, it's a major player in keeping chronic diseases away. And who doesn't want to boost in mood and energy levels?
Absolutely. It sounds like a pretty good deal all around, doesn't it?
Totally.
Okay, so let's dig into the nitty-gritty then. What are the core principles of this healthy diet for weight control?
Right.
Well, one of the big ones is getting enough of all the right nutrients and making sure they're, balanced in the right proportions.
Like the carbs, fats, proteins mix.
Exactly, that macronutrient balance.
Okay. So carbohydrates first. According to your sources, they should be the main energy source, like 45 to 65% of your daily energy.
That's the range, giving you about 4 calories per gram. But the focus here, and this is important, should be on the good carbs.
Whole grains.
Whole grains, things like brown rice, whole wheat, barley, corn, and really keeping an eye on those free sugars, aiming for less than 10% of total energy.
Ideally less.
Ideally, less than 5% if you can manage it. They add up quickly.
Okay. And then fats, they're more calorie dense.
Yeah, right. 9 calories per gram. So they should make up a smaller percentage, maybe 20 to 35% of your total energy.
And again, the type of fat matters.
Hugely. Prioritize those unsaturated fats. They're good for cell function, hormone production, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And limit the saturated fats. Keep those under 10% of your total energy.
Under 10%. Got it. And protein, which we'll talk more about.
Yeah, we'll dive deeper. But generally around 10 to 35% of total energy.
Right.
Also 4 calories per gram, like carbs.
And sources. Lean meats, poultry, fish.
Fish is great, yeah. The sources suggest aiming for it at least 3 times a week. Shrimp, crab are good too. And don't forget plant-based options like lentils and beans. Very important.
Okay. What about vitamins and minerals?
Ah, yes, the micronutrients. And those phytonutrients too, those plant compounds. You get those from eating a wide variety of colorful fruits and vegetables.
How much should we aim for?
The recommendation is at least 400 grams every day. They're essential for, well, pretty much everything. Energy, immunity, and the fiber they contain is a big plus for weight management too. Helps you feel full.
Good point. And you mentioned salt earlier. There's a specific limit.
Yeah, the sources suggest keeping it under 5 grams a day. That's roughly a teaspoon.
Just 1 teaspoon for the whole day.
Yep. And they recommend using iodized salt. Plus some practical tips like, don't add extra salt when cooking or at the table.
Put the shaker away.
Basically, yeah. And watch out for salty snacks. Check labels for lower sodium options when you can.
Okay, good tips. Now, portion control. That always comes up.
It's a cornerstone, especially for weight control. One source introduces this really helpful visual, the healthy eating plate.
Ah, I think I've seen that.
Probably. Picture your plate.
Mm.
Half of it filled with colorful vegetables.
Yeah, okay.
Then 1/4 is for your healthy protein source, and the last quarter is for whole grains.
That visual really does make it click, doesn't it? Takes the guesswork out.
Exactly. It's a simple way to aim for balance at meals.
Now, another source talks about something called eating units for estimating food and energy. It sounds a bit more technical.
It is a bit more detailed, yeah.
Huh.
The idea is to give you a more personalized way to track things, focusing not just on calories, but also on that macronutrient balance we talked about.
Right.
The source mentions generally calorie needs might range, say, 1,200 to 2,500 a day. And it suggests a target breakdown, roughly 30% protein, 25% fat, 45% carbs.
Okay, specific ratios.
Yeah. And it brings up some products like Body Key by Nutrilite and Nutrilite All Plant Protein Powder
Yeah.
as tools that kind of fit into this system.
So how do these eating units work in practice? Like, what's 1 unit of carbs?
Okay, so for example, 1 unit of grains or starchy veg might be about 20 grams of carbs, 2 grams protein, maybe 90 calories. That could be like half a small bowl of rice.
Okay.
For fruit, 1 unit is maybe 10 grams carbs, 1 gram protein, 45 calories, like half an apple. Yeah. And non-starchy veggies, 1 unit is even lower calorie. 4 grams carbs, 2 grams protein, 25 calories. Think like a whole cucumber.
A whole cucumber is just 1 unit. Wow.
Yeah, nutrient dense, not calorie dense. It goes on like that for other groups. Lean meat, 1 unit is about 7 g protein, 2.5 g fat, 50 calories, maybe 35 grams of lean beef, so quite small.
Okay.
Dairy or unsweetened soy milk, a unit is around 10 gram carbs, 7 gram protein, 70 calories. It's about 200 milliliters of milk. Nuts are more energy dense. Olive oil, even protein powder and meal replacements are assigned unit values.
So 1 scoop of that Nutrilite protein is 1 unit.
Yep, 8 grams of protein, 40 calories in that case. A Body Key packet is also its own unit with a specific macro profile.
This is incredibly detailed, almost like food accounting.
It is. And the source even lays out a sample 2,000-calorie meal plan using these units. Shows you exactly how to map out breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks.
So if you look structured, that's an option.
Definitely. But if that feels like too much, the source has also mentioned the hand principle.
Yes, that sounds more my speed.
It's more intuitive for many people. Use your hand as a guide. Fat serving is about your thumb size.
Okay.
Carbs, or fruit, about your fist size. Vegetables, about 2 palms worth.
2 palms. Wow, lots of veggie.
That's the goal. And protein, about the size of your palm.
That feels much easier to use day to day, especially when you're eating out.
Exactly. Now, another point your sources bring up is eating smaller meals more often, like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, what's the logic there?
Well, the thinking is it helps keep blood sugar more stable. You avoid getting ravenously hungry, which can lead to overeating.
Makes sense.
And it might help you feel fuller throughout the day. Some also suggest a slight metabolism boost, though that's debated. The key advice is eat before you get really hungry, stop before you feel stuffed.
Like tuning into your body's signals more.
Precisely. The source even suggests approximate times, like every 3 hours or so, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m., 3 p.m., 6 p.m.
Okay, so we've got these core principles: nutrient balance, portion control, meal timing. What about actually doing it? Practical strategies.
Right, the how-tos. Your sources offer some solid advice. Cooking at home more often is a big one.
More control.
Way more control over ingredients, portions, everything, compared to eating out or getting takeout. Also, just making that conscious decision to shift your habits. It's a mindset change.
Yeah, not just a diet.
Exactly. Reading food labels carefully, that's crucial for knowing what you're actually eating. Practicing mindful eating.
Chewing properly, paying attention.
Yes. Slowing down, savoring, noticing when you're full, it can make a huge difference. And drinking enough water, of course. Super important.
Can't forget water.
And finally, planning meals ahead. Even just a little bit of planning can save you from making impulsive, less healthy choices when you're hungry and rushed.
These are all really actionable tips, things people can actually start doing. Okay, let's switch gears now to the star. Protein.
Ah, yes, protein.
We know it's a key macronutrient, but your second set of sources suggests its role is way bigger than just building muscle, right?
Oh, absolutely. Muscle building and repair is definitely key. But protein's functions are incredibly diverse. Fun fact. After water, protein is the most abundant substance in your body.
Really? More than fat or anything else?
By dry weight, yeah. Makes up almost half your body's dry weight.
Wow. Okay, so what else is it doing besides muscles?
Well, structurally, it's everywhere. building not just muscle, but all your tissues. It forms enzymes which speed up all the chemical reactions in your body, hormones which regulate everything, antibodies for your immune system.
Antibodies are proteins. Didn't know that.
Yep. Hemoglobin, carrying oxygen in your blood, that's protein. Collagen, giving structure to skin, bones, connective tissue, also protein. It's literally the building block for so much.
Okay, structural stuff. What else?
Transport. It's vital for moving nutrients across cell membranes. There are specific proteins that carry vitamin A, for instance. Others, called lipoproteins, transport fats around.
So if you don't have enough protein, you might not absorb other nutrients well, even if you eat them.
Exactly. It can impair nutrient absorption. That's a connection many people miss.
That's fascinating. Okay, what else? Keep going.
It's also crucial for regulating fluid balance in your body and maintaining the right acid-base balance, your pH levels.
How does it do fluid balance?
There are proteins in cell membranes, like the sodium-potassium pump, that control water flow. If your protein levels get too low, this can get disrupted and lead to things like edema, swelling.
Ah, okay. And the pH balance?
Proteins act as buffers. They can soak up or release hydrogen ions to help keep your blood pH stable, which is absolutely critical for survival.
Wow. Okay. Structure, transport, fluid balance, pH. What about immunity? You mentioned antibodies.
Right. Antibodies are a prime example of protein's protective role. They're your immune system's soldiers, identifying and neutralizing invaders. Plus, many liver enzymes involved in detoxification are proteins.
So low protein could mean weaker immunity and detox.
It can definitely compromise both, yeah.
This is making protein sound like a superhero nutrient. Does it give us energy too?
It can, yes. It provides 4 calories per gram, same as carbs. But it's not the body's preferred energy source that's carbs and fats. Your body will use protein for energy if the other sources aren't sufficient, though.
But ideally, you want to use it for all that other important stuff.
Exactly. And remember, there's this constant turnover of proteins breaking down and being rebuilt all the time, just for maintenance and repair.
Right. Okay, now let's get to the part lots of people focus on, weight management and body composition. How does protein fit in there? Your sources highlight some big benefits.
They really do. A higher protein intake is often linked to increased satiety, that feeling of fullness.
Helps you eat less overall.
Potentially, yes. It can help you feel satisfied longer after meals, maybe reduce cravings. Plus, protein has a higher thermic effect of food.
Thermic effect, what's that?
It basically means your body burns more calories just digesting and processing protein compared to fat or carbs. Maybe 20–30% of protein calories get used up in digestion.
So eating protein actually burns more calories than eating the same calories from fat or carbs.
In terms of the digestive process itself, yes. It's a small edge, but it adds up. Also crucially, when you're losing weight, getting enough protein helps preserve your lean muscle mass.
Which is important for metabolism.
Exactly. You don't want to lose muscle along with fat. And protein is obviously key for muscle repair and growth after exercise, which can also help prevent weight regain later on.
Those are really compelling reasons for focusing on protein for weight management. Any downsides to going too high on protein?
Yeah, it's about balance, always. Extremely high protein intake could potentially strain the kidneys, especially if you have pre-existing kidney issues. They have to work harder to filter out waste products.
Okay, so moderation is key.
And if you focus only on protein, you might neglect other food groups and miss out on fiber, vitamins, minerals. You need the whole package.
Right. Now, animal versus plant protein for weight control, do the sources say one is better?
They indicate both are valuable. Plant proteins often bring extra fiber and less saturated fat, which is great.
Good bonus.
But the sources really stress getting a variety of both animal and plant sources. That helps ensure you get all the essential amino acids and other nutrients.
Okay, so what's the general recommendation? How much protein should adults aim for?
The standard baseline is about 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight daily.
0.8 per kilogram.
But for weight management, or if you're quite active, needs are likely higher. Recommendations often go up to 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram.
That's quite a bit more.
It can be. Or sometimes it's expressed as a percentage of calories, like 25 to 35% of your total daily intake coming from protein. It really depends on the individual.
And it's not just the amount, right?
Yeah.
The sources talk about protein quality.
Yes, very important. The key is the amino acid profile. Proteins are made of amino acids, and there are 9 traits. Your body can't make the essential amino acids.
You have to get them from food.
Exactly. Animal proteins are generally complete. They have good amounts of all 9. Plant proteins are sometimes incomplete, maybe low in 1 or 2.
Like lysine, you mentioned.
Lysine is a common example. often lower in grains. And if even one essential amino acid is missing or too low, it limits your body's ability to use all the other amino acids to build protein.
So even if you hit your gram target with just, say, rice protein, it might not be as effective because it's missing enough lysine.
That's the concept, yes. Your body can only build protein up to the level allowed by the most limited essential amino acid.
The limiting amino acid, got it. What else affects protein quality or how we use it?
Several things. Overall calorie intake, if you're not eating enough calories, protein gets used for energy instead of building.
New fuel for the builders.
Right. You need adequate vitamins and minerals too, as they're involved in protein metabolism. Digestibility matters how well your body breaks it down and absorbs it. Some plant foods have compounds that can slightly inhibit digestion
Oh, yeah.
and preparation methods. Very high heat can sometimes damage certain amino acids.
So how you cook it matters, too. You mentioned complementary protein pairing. What's that?
That's a strategy, especially for plant-based diets. You combine different plant foods that have different amino acid strengths and weaknesses, like grains and legumes. Beans and rice is a classic example.
So the beans make up for what the rice lacks and vice versa.
Pretty much. Together, they provide a more complete amino acid profile. It enhances the overall protein value. Generally, though, animal proteins tend to have higher absorption rates overall.
This is all fascinating. The sources even mention how recommendations changed over time.
Yeah, briefly. Early on, some thought we needed huge amounts. Then, understanding grew about metabolism and potential issues with excess, leading to the more moderate, nuanced recommendations we have today, considering age, activity, health status.
Okay. And digging deeper into why we need it. Maintenance, growth, recovery.
Right. Maintenance is about that constant protein turnover we mentioned, replacing old proteins, plus replacing the small daily losses of nitrogen.
Okay, just keeping things running.
Growth is obvious, kids. Pregnancy, you need extra protein to build new tissue. And recovery after injury, surgery, illness protein needs shoot up for repair.
Makes sense. Your source mentioned methods for figuring out needs, like nitrogen balance.
Yeah, that's a classic research method. Compares nitrogen intake from protein to nitrogen output in urine, feces, skin, etc.
Trying to see if you're building, losing, or maintaining protein.
Exactly. Positive balance means building, negative means losing, zero means equilibrium, which is the goal for most healthy adults.
Interesting. Okay, finally, the sources of protein, animal and plant.
Animal sources: meat, fish, eggs, dairy, generally high quantity, high quality, complete amino acid profile. The sources give specific gram counts per 100 gram for various examples.
And plant sources.
Grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, very important sources globally, often more affordable and accessible. Soy is a standout plant protein, pretty complete. Others might be less balanced on their own.
But still valuable, especially when combined.
Absolutely. Still vital parts of a healthy diet. The sources give examples of their protein content too.
Okay, so wrapping up the protein discussion, clearly, it's about way more than just muscle. It's fundamental to structure, transport, immunity, balance, so many things.
There really is. And getting enough from varied sources is key for overall health.
So bringing it all together from this deep dive, a healthy diet for weight management isn't about one magic bullet.
Not at all. It's a multifaceted approach. Balanced nutrients, portion awareness, mindful eating, lifestyle changes.
And protein plays a really crucial role within that.
A very significant role for satiety, preserving muscle, influencing metabolism, and all those other essential functions we just covered.
You should now have a much deeper understanding of these core principles thanks to the information you shared with us for this dive.
Hopefully, yeah.
So here's something to think about. How can you take these principles, the balanced nutrition, getting adequate protein, and actually weave them into your daily life to help you reach your weight management and health goals?
Yeah, make it practical.
Take a moment, maybe later today, reflect on your current habits. Where could you make some small positive changes based on what we've talked about? Something to chew on.